This is Lotus Comics Press. We're here live at the Texas Frightmare Weekend 2013. We're here with Miss Virginia Madsen. My favorite movie of all times that you've done is actually, like I said before off camera, 23.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. Playing the wife of Jim Carrey. How was that? I mean,
I loved working with Jim Carrey. He's just such a, he's a wonderful man, and I think, what's great about Jim is he's an actor first. He's not just a comic, which is a feat in itself, but
right.
But he's really a very hardworking actor. He wants to experiment a lot, but never at my expense. He was, in fact, he was protective of me, made sure I had everything I needed on the set, and we both had to play two roles. So it was sometimes very challenging, and I just loved him. Plus, there was a couple of times in the movie where I had to lay on a bed of blood, and and you can't move because of continuity, and so Jim would just hang out next to me, going, "How you feeling? Bloody? Wet?"
That's awesome.
But he just would make me laugh, and about everything, and make it bearable for me to stay there, and I always love him for that.
Well, that's awesome. Jim Carrey is one of my favorites. You were amazing with Jim Carrey as far as the dynamic of you guys' two characters.
I think we should do another movie together, me
and
Jim.
No joke. Like, call it maybe 24 or something. Well, I guess it's already taken, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that wouldn't work.
No, I know, right? But as far as Star Trek, I know one of my other favorites is probably Star Trek. And how was that experience working with the cast members and stuff like that?
Well, I'm a big Star Trek fan. I mean, since I was a kid, I was a Trekker, and so I was just begging them, literally just begging them to please put me on the show. And I was trying to angle for like a Whoopi Goldberg kind of reoccurring thing. And so they said, well, we have this one, Voyager's ending. We're not sure where we're going to go after this. We have this one episode, but everyone forgets you after you leave. And I was like, okay, I'll do it.
That's awesome.
But the only thing I said, listen, man, I love Star Trek, but I want to be like old school Star Trek babe. Like, I don't want to have a pig nose. I don't want to have a weird forehead. I want to be like the kind of babe that like Kirk would have been in love with. Like, how in Star Trek, like the old one, like when Kirk would see someone, it would be like, oh, and she'd like have, like muted lens, and she'd have beautiful big hair. And I said, I want to be one of the beautiful babes of Star Trek.
That's awesome.
And so they were like, okay, we'll do that.
So on a side note, what's you into scary movies and stuff like that as well?
Oh, yes, I'm a huge fan of the genre, which is what brings me to Texas Frightmare, because I want to like walk around and see all the stars too. As I do as well. Yeah, it's really fun.
I mean, they put on a really great event.
And also, you know what, like when it comes to fantasy, horror, sci-fi, those fans are my best, greatest fans of anything that I've ever done, because they've been with me since Dune, which was my first movie.
I remember Dune.
And they remember everything that I've done, and they're always the nicest fans, and it's, I always say, when you do a play, you see your audience out there, and you hear the applause or the boos or whatever, but you meet your fans, and you interact with the audience. But when you do movies, you never see that. Maybe at a premiere, but this is the first time that I feel like I can officially bow to my audience and thank them, and I get applause. And
I'm a huge fan.
Oh, thank you.
I am, seriously.
I love doing it.
Like,
I don't do this for the money. I do it for the experience of meeting the fans, because they're so wonderful.
That's
really
awesome.
Wonderful.
So what is your favorite movie, all-time scary movie?
Oh, you know what? Well, it would depend on what era we're talking about, but I would say The Haunting is the original, The Haunting, is probably, to me, was the scariest, most terrifying movie I ever saw as a little kid.
That's awesome.
That one and the original Night of the Living Dead.
Off record, everybody knows what you do on screen. And by the way, you're adorable on screen, as well as I'm sure off screen. But we were kind of wondering, what do you do on your off time? To relax and stuff like that.
Well, I've been raising my son, and he's 18 now, so we're almost done. He's almost out the door.
right.
And I passed on this love of the horror genre to him.
That's awesome.
And so we love seeing movies together and hanging out before he leaves home.
That's really
cool. And I have a pretty mundane suburban life because my work life is rather exotic, and
right.
I travel all the time and I work a lot. Thank you.
And we do as well, so I can totally relate to that.
So it's sort of when you're home, something that like cooking dinner or making breakfast becomes the exotic. That becomes what you crave.
Right.
The boring, quiet times, I cherish those moments with my son.
Well, that's cool.
So
That's really cool.
I stay at home a lot.
That's awesome.
My work life is exciting enough.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Well, 2 last questions, and we'll let you go here. But one, we were kind of wondering. Well, in general, because you like scary movies and such, is there any other genres aside for sci-fi and horror that you're into?
Well, those are really my favorites. I mean,
That's
they
cool.
were my mother used to let me stay up on Friday nights when I was a little girl. They had creature features.
Yeah.
So, and on Sunday nights they had silent films, and she thought that would help me read.
That's cool.
And I was already an actress, so the originals, like the beauty of a movie like Frankenstein and Dracula and the Wolfman, the way those were photographed in black and white, and like going back to Lon Chaney and the Hunchback of Notre Dame and what he did with early makeup technology. It's really, I was always a fan. And at one of the other conventions, I got to meet his grandson.
That's awesome.
It was a super thrill. I totally started crying like a total geek. But he understood, I think.
We totally understand, being that we run a geek website ourselves. So, but one follow-up question. Sure. If you had a superpower, what would it be?
To fly.
That's mine.
Yes.
Wait, no, that's totally mine.
Oh, I mean, come on. X-ray vision, super strength. That's, bullshit. I mean, really, the greatest power would be to fly.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's totally mine. That's the one I picked.
Oh, cool.
That's totally awesome.
Do you have flying dreams?
I do.
Isn't it amazing? And I hardly ever have them. But I have dreams where I'm flying and then I die. Like I crash at the end, and then
You actually die in the dream?
Yes, I die in the dream, and then I'm flying around as a spirit going, wow, I died. Man. I know. Like, why couldn't I just continue to fly? I don't know what that means.
Well, I just wanted to tell you, it's been a real honor and pleasure having you on our show.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate you coming out.
The Texas Frightmare Weekend.
Well, thank you very much. Well, this is Lotus Comics Press. You heard it here first. We'll see you next time. We're here at the Texas Frightmare Weekend 2013. Come check it out. We'll see you next time. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.